I can probably prove to you guys like the existence of God pretty rationally.
Is that Richard speaking? I'm
Yeah.
guessing. Okay, go for it.
All right. So, what year is it?
2022.
All right, 2022 years since what?
Uh, I don't know anything particular that happened in the year. Well, actually, there is no year zero. Uh, that's kind
I
of
was
people
gonna
Right.
think
say
there's a
because
year zero. There
you
isn't.
need a
It's
calendar.
one BCE and then one CE. So
Right.
nothing. I'm not aware of anything in particular that happened in the year one CE.
But you
Yeah,
know
I
what
go with
like
before
BC
present. I just go
stands
with
for though?
BP because like before current
B
era.
yeah BCE
Like
stands for before the current era.
right. And then AD stands for Anno Domini, like year of our Lord. So Jesus
Right.
kind of like split time. So like everything that happened, so like his birth was so significant that everything before his birth was like before Christ, and then afterwards was like year of our Lord.
That's not
So
what the
they
Chinese thought. That's not what the Hindus thought. That's not what the Aboriginal Australians thought. That's not what the Indigenous Americans of North or South America thought. That's not
Right.
what the Mongols thought. That's not what people living in Africa thought.
Right.
That's not what Inuit people thought. That's not what people of Easter Island thought. That's not what people living in Polynesia thought. That's
Hmm.
not what
Yeah.
anybody
No, I get
living
it.
outside of small particular areas thought.
No,
yeah, that
for
Yeah,
maybe
that's
a
sure.
great
not
a
evidence
special
of
calendar for Jesus isn't really great proof of
no.
one creator.
Yeah, I mean those are
Right.
all great examples of like pagan religions where they kind of
I didn't name a
No.
single religion. I was talking about groups of people.
well, you name like Buddhism and Hinduism and stuff. So
I said I said I said Buddhists. So some
well,
branches of Buddhism aren't exactly a religion, but
You would
that
so
is
you're
one of the things I said because I didn't want to say Indians, uh, uh, because I just don't because that might confuse people. I wanted to distinguish between
well, yeah.
indigenous
Your point is
Americans and
like
people living in India. And I picked out India because it's historically had the second largest population on Earth, which is a pretty
mhm,
big deal. And the broader point was nobody living there thought that at the time.
right.
So Jesus didn't split time. Some people, I mean, even during Jesus's lifetime, people didn't go, "Holy crap, we're this guy. He's the bee's knees. We're gonna. What year were you born?
Well, some
Okay, we're going to
people
say
did.
that's the year one. So that didn't
Some
happen
people
during
did,
his
but
own
others didn't.
lifetime, even. No, it didn't.
Well,
No.
there were like 12 people that like believed that he was the son of God and like, you know, were
No,
his
they didn't.
disciples. Yeah, like the 12 disciples.
No, they did not think that. They
I
thought he
mean,
was the
just read the
Messiah. The
Bible.
Messiah. I've read that they never thought he was God. It's only in the Gospel of Luke that that kind of language is even used. And if you read the Old Testament, you would know that the Messiah is not God or the descendant of God, or anything like that. This is why the Jews don't think Jesus was the person Christians think he was. None of,
Yeah,
anyways, I don't really
that's
want to
what
get into that
Muslims believe
necessarily
as
right
well.
now, but sorry, what?
Yeah, that's what Muslims believe as well, that Jesus was just a prophet and that he wasn't
Correct.
the actual son of God. Uh,
Right.
and that they believe that the Holy Bible is corrupt, that it was like corrupted by human hands, you could say. So like the Quran is the most perfect version of that. Um, I don't necessarily agree with that because the whole basis for Islam is that like Jesus um, wasn't crucified, and that it only appeared to them that he was crucified.
I've
But
never heard that before.
yeah, some there's like two different sects of Islam. It's like Sheikh, or I might be
Shia
messing
and
this up.
Shia and Sunni, and the
Yes, you're right.
distinctions
Yeah.
between Shia and Sunni Islam have nothing to do with whether or not they believe Jesus was crucified.
Well, the
The
basis
split
for
between
is. Can I
Sunni and
finish my point,
Shia,
please?
yeah, but it's important to say that the distinctions between the two major different branches of Islam have nothing to do with the idea of whether or not Jesus was crucified.
I thought you
Still waiting
said when
for
you
the evidence
before
for
no
God.
before we go any further, I would just like to ask you, the guy that started all this. You said, "Do you have a second for me to prove that God is real?" And we said, "Yeah." And then you've just gone on and on and
Yeah,
on
it's been
about if
it's been more
Jesus
than
is
a
real,
second.
bro. Like
Yeah,
this
we're
is
kind of
like
going
Yeah.
down
this
a
is the
rabbit
worst
hole.
argument. This is like the
Well,
worst
I'm trying to make a
argument for if
point,
a
but
creator is actual factual or not. Do you want to argue like how valid Christianity is? There's a bunch of other guys doing that, I'm sure.
well, let me finish this point real quick. So the one
Okay, go ahead.
thing that Muslims believe in the Quran, if you read the Quran, is that it only appeared to them that Jesus was crucified because Allah made it that way. Um,
I've
the
never heard this before.
the basis of the entirety of Christianity is, if like you read historical records, the one thing we do know about Jesus is that he was crucified. We don't know for
Yeah,
sure, like if he's the Son of God, but we know for sure he was crucified and that he was crucified under Pontius Pilate. That's like a fact
right.
historically. So that kind of throws the whole basis for Islam out the window, right? If you
That's not the
understand that
basis
first
of
assumption.
Islam, though. We just went over this.
See,
The Islam
none
religion
of us
isn't
in here are
founded
even
on the idea
Islamic. He
that
just wants to argue with
Jesus
somebody
was
that's
or was not.
Islamic, dude. Go find somebody that's
No, no,
Islamic and
no.
argue your faith
Well,
against
do you guys
Islam,
know
bro.
about
What are you doing?
Freemasonry? You guys know about Freemasonry and what they
Oh
believe
my
in?
God.
Not really.
I've
I
heard
I'm not
about
mean,
what
really
people think
interested in
about
Freemasonry.
Freemasonry.
Can we just go back to the original? I
it's a
mean, you said in
satanic
We were
cult. I
doing
mean,
science.
you
Now
said
we're
in like
doing
30 seconds you
religion. That
could
was
like tell
quick.
us that God is, you could give a rational argument for the existence of God, and then you said uh, Exhibit A was the fact that we called this year the year that we do, but that's just because some
that's
people in
just
Europe
one.
centuries after Jesus died decided to start keeping track of time that way. So like can we move on to something else more substantive, maybe about like what your idea for proof that God exists is or something like that?
Yeah. Have you ever heard of the law of the conservation of energy?
Yep.
It basically says that no matter can be created or destroyed, just changed in form. I
Okay.
might be butchering that,
So
but
if there
that's
was a that's that is perfectly good enough. So
right.
if somebody presented an idea that was alternative to that, you would consider that an unscientific, unjustifiable idea, or what?
Well, I mean, that is considered by science to be a law. So I
Right?
believe that that is the highest kind of classification
It's
that you
up
can
there.
put it over theory. Like it's more
It's up there.
substantial than theory.
Are you saying
It's
your
up there.
consciousness somehow is outside of space and time?
No, no, no. What
Because
I'm
like when you're,
saying is that if you understand that
eh,
law of the
I
conservation
think
of
you are.
energy, how can nothing create everything?
Whoever
What
said
did
nothing
God
created
create
everything.
everything out of?
That's my question. How can nothing create
What did
everything?
God create? I don't claim that everything was created out of nothing. I don't have any claims or beliefs about what the universe was created from. But my question to you would be, what did God create the universe out of?
I don't know. I mean, God just created the universe.
Okay, well, you don't have an answer or an explanation then, do you?
Well, I
You have a
mean,
belief statement, you have like a faith statement that God created the universe, but it's not based on anything.
so you're relying on like the Big Bang Theory, I'm assuming?
The Big Bang Theory doesn't describe what created the universe. It just talks about what the universe has done. It talks about like the state and characteristics of the universe.
After
It's
point one, basically. After,
yeah, after the first Planck second.
yeah.
Okay. You know that was theorized by a Catholic priest, right?
It was theorized by a physicist who happened to be a Catholic priest. He did not
Right.
come up with the idea by reading the Bible. Religion didn't come up with that idea. It didn't prove that idea. It didn't inspire that idea. He was a physicist. He was also a priest.
Right,
fact,
that's correct.
uh,
Yeah.
the
I don't know. I just find that interesting.
the overwhelmingly popular idea throughout all of history was that the universe was eternal, meaning it had always existed, or it has always existed, because that's the nature of God too. And then the Big Bang Theory. So the discovery that that guy, his name was Georges Lemaitre, who's Belgian, by the way. What he came
Right.
up with was directly opposed to conventional religious thought, just kind of like how what Copernicus and Galileo argued was directly opposed to conventional religious thought. The the church, they vehemently disagreed, to the point where they put people to death for even thinking those things, and then later on they were like, nah, it's all good. In fact, now we're going to say that the Bible supports the idea that Earth goes around the sun. It's like, wait, what? But so
Yeah.
anyway,
I mean, it's really it's a good conversation, but I mean, I would classify myself as a born again Christian in the sense that, if you read the Bible, it says that you have to be born again to enter heaven. So, I got baptized recently, which I'm really happy about and stuff. So, it's not
cool.
like it's not like I just found God. Like, I went to religious school my whole life, Greek Orthodox school for 10 years, Catholic high school, Catholic college, and I was an atheist the entire time. I didn't buy it.
Interesting.
So it's not like I've magically just discovered that Jesus exists. It's more so that I discovered that the devil exists. Just
How'd you
like,
do that?
well, I kind of just discovered Freemasonry and what they believe, and the influence that they have over just society in general.
Not aware of
And
any
I've
Freemasons.
I talk
you
to a
should do
lot
your
of them.
research.
Yeah, I can say things that they've told me. Obviously, I'm not one, so I can't speak on everything. But there's a lot of misinformation that goes around where people say Freemasons are running the world, and then they're like, "Oh, look, here's proof. Here's these symbols," and it's measuring,
Right.
it's tools, right? And it's like, well, what do you think Mason means, right? And that's the thing that I've heard a lot of what people say on TikTok. But every Freemason I've ever talked to, they explain it like it's basically a frat. It's like Boy
Yeah,
Scouts with
exactly. It is
beer.
a frat. Yeah, no, that's the perfect way of describing it. It is a frat. It's a fraternal organization. And but in reality, the fraternity actually hides the inner fraternity, which is reserved for the elect and the enlightened of the fraternity. And
Are
then
you one of
once you
them?
How do you
no,
know that?
no, I'm not.
Then
Well, how
then
do
how
you
would you
know that
know?
then?
Because I've read their literature. I've
I mean,
actually
I've seen the books
read
at
the
Walmart I can
manual.
get to.
I've read the participants manual and all of the practitioners guides for it, and the instructions on how to do these rituals and shit, and I realized that it's all real.
But I mean, that's the thing. These books, if the Freemasons were such a big secret, why can I go to Walmart and buy the book for $5? I mean, there was one guy who was preaching at me,
Because it's
and
hidden.
this is anecdotal, but they were showing me like, you
Hidden.
need to get this book. This is hidden from you, and I found
Right.
it literally first search on Walmart, $5.
Right, but you don't actually read all of it and go center yourself before you read it and approach it from an objective point of view where you're like, okay, I'm going to assume that this is legit and they actually do this.
That's not an objective point of view. That is going into it with the conclusion already in mind.
Well, I mean, I'm reading their practitioner's manual. So you're right. It's not an objective point of view. I think I wrongly worded that because I'm a little bit faded right now. But
Why is everybody on substances tonight?
but you should research Freemasonry,
No, I'm not going to do that.
Duncan's Practitioner's Guide and Richard's Monitor of Freemasonry. It's all there.
Yeah, I'm not going to do that. So
Well, I
how
mean,
do
that's
you
pretty
know that
sad
God
because
how do you know that God exists?
Because so they, I mean, to boil it down, and this is gonna sound weird, but they're basically a satanic cult where they like sell their souls to the devil for
No,
exchange.
I asked you
They,
how you know
yeah, yeah,
God
yeah.
exists.
So I'm getting there. I'm getting there. So
Oh, okay. I didn't think this was going to be relevant. Okay.
they sell their souls, and they essentially gain
Right.
all of the clout, the money, the power that this world can give you.
Like
And
your
so
sources.
I realized that that's
I
what they
could
do.
probably name 200 professional athletes and 0 Freemasons.
Right. And that's the way they want it to
All
be.
of the money and clout that this world can offer you.
I mean, George Washington was a Freemason. Like most of our presidents were Freemasons.
You
That's
you you
He might
understand
have been.
Freemasons are not Satanists, right? You know
well,
Satanism is a completely different thing.
Yeah, Satanism
well,
doesn't even believe in God or an actual Satan. They worship themselves. They're
Yep.
basically there for
yeah, it's
it's
self-righteousness.
self-preservation. Yeah, it
It's
has nothing to
self-righteousness.
do
Yeah.
with actual God or Satan or anything. And most
Yeah, it's an
Freemasons are
Epicurean.
religious.
Yeah, it's an Epicurean
Yeah, they
philosophy of
deny the
rational
existence.
self-interest.
Yeah, they deny the existence of the Almighty God, and they're self-righteous. They
Or
don't abide
Satanists.
by God's
But
Yeah, they
morality.
but
yeah, they
most
don't well,
Freemasons are believe in God.
they don't believe in Satan either.
Right.
Of
Freemasons
course they
are
do. They worship Satan.
Christians.
They do rituals dedicated to
No,
Satan. They sacrifice things to Satan. What are you talking
that
about?
is that
No,
is
Yeah, as
something different.
damn it.
I don't know the exact name, but Satanism itself it doesn't actually have to do with Satan. I've seen plenty of
no.
stuff about this. They even have a whole website that they've built around this
I
that
just said
talks
the
about it.
definition. It's an Epicurean philosophy of rational self-interest.
Well, I mean, the true
That's
explanations are
Satanism.
only reserved for the high degrees. So I don't anticipate.
Interesting.
I wouldn't.
I
There are a
could
lot of Freemasons that don't even know
okay,
like what it is because they're not like
You're
there
welcome,
yet.
Plain Jane.
sure. So could we like I'll give you like 1 minute because we still haven't finished. We still haven't got to how this works. So apparently, the existence of Freemasons who don't believe God exists proves that God exists. So
So
could you just give us how that
right.
works?
Yeah, so they do rituals to Satan. They make sacrifices to Satan. They pray to Satan. All that good stuff. So, and it's not like some Joe Schmo like down the street. It's like the people who run the world, like the presidents, the rappers, the actresses, actors. They all do
Yeah.
that. That's how they
Okay.
got into the positions that they're currently in. As much as
Okay.
it's nice to think that they got there because they're just smarter than you and they're more talented than you, it's not the case.
Okie dokie.
So if that, let's just suspend your everyday beliefs and assume that that's true, that that's the case. So if
Okie
something like
dokie.
that exists, right, then the opposite has to be true as well. So if
Negative.
they're Satanists,
That's not
then
at
that
all true.
means they hate Jesus. So that means
It's
that
not even
Jesus
remotely
is
true.
real.
Do you know what a false
Just
equivalency is? Or a false dichotomy?
Have you ever heard of like an anti-Buddha or like an anti-Zeus or like
Wow,
an
that
anti-Muhammad?
has literally nothing to do with what I said. So
I've heard of an anti-Christ
I
before though.
don't believe that there's $1 billion under my bed. So according to you, that necessarily means that there also must be $1 billion under my bed. I can't tell you how much I hope you're right, but I don't think that that's how this works.
it might be. You should check
I
just in
don't really
case.
get the point. I don't really understand the analogy.
You
That
said
he literally
because
just
they
described
don't
the
believe
argument you
in
made.
God. You said because they don't believe in God and because they worship Satan, then that must mean that God exists.
Right, because it's the presidents, it's the celebrities, it's the
But
people who
that's
actually
not
Right.
how
run
It
the
doesn't matter
argument.
who
world.
did it.
That's not an
Just
argument for
and it's
That's not
and
how
it aligns
that's
exactly
not how
with
you
what
construct a
Jesus
logical
said.
statement.
Jesus said that the devil is the commander of the spiritual powers of the air and that he is the lord of this world. And he's right.
Okay,
Like
Maybe
Satan
Okay,
is the lord
you're
of this
starting to
world.
preach, bud.
you're
You're
just
not.
stating your beliefs and you're You're
But
assuming,
but it's
first
not
of
a
all,
belief
that all
because
of
it's
don't
true.
talk
Like
over
they
me. No,
worship
it's
Satan.
not
The
true.
people
It
who
is a
rule the world
belief.
worship Satan, just like Jesus said
Yeah,
they did.
Oh, shit.
they don't do what you just said, but even if they did, that wouldn't prove anything. So the biggest problem is that you're approaching this from the standpoint of your specific esoteric Christian beliefs are true, first of all. Now let me go into all these other things. And that is not how you construct that's not how you construct
Well, like
an
I said, I was
intellectually sound or
atheist.
intellectually honest argument.
Like I said, I grew up in Catholic upbringing, Christian upbringing. I was atheist the entire time, so I didn't
Still
buy
waiting
it.
on that evidence for
That
God.
had nothing to do with anything.
Right. So I didn't go in with the perception that Christianity is true. I was always a skeptic, is my point. So
Richard,
I
Richard,
figured
we're
out
looking
that
for the
the
evidence,
devil,
bud.
right. So if you research Freemasonry, if you actually figure out what they
Again,
do, let's just assume that they do that,
What
right?
what
Let's
some
just
groups
assume
of
they
people
do.
believe isn't proof of anything.
no,
But I don't
absolutely
believe
zero
this. I
evidence.
know this to be
Richard,
true. I have read their literature
oh
and
my
their
God, Richard,
practitioner's manual.
people's beliefs in something isn't proof of anything. Okay, let's do an example. I believe that on the island of Mauritania, there is a blue lizard with a yellow tail. Now,
Okay,
how are
show me
we
a
going to
picture of
figure
a
out
blue
whether or
lizard
not
with a
that's...
yellow tail. Show me a
Oh,
picture
so
of a blue lizard
you
with a
want
yellow tail.
physical
You
proof?
want
You want
physical
physical
Show me
evidence?
a
proof?
picture. If you
That's
if you
great.
think it's real, show me a picture.
I love this. That is
Great.
the
That's
standard.
great.
Okay, get me the physical evidence of your God.
All
There.
right, you want me to like DM you
A
the
picture would
link?
be okay.
You want me to DM you the link?
Yeah,
No, a
sure.
photo of God. Like a photo of God.
You have a
Photo
photo
of
of him.
God.
Or like a FaceTime. Like if you can give
Um,
us a number to call.
Or
I
any
think my
kind of
buddy's
physical
got
empirical
Jesus'
evidence.
number. Let me hit up my buddy. I think
That'd be
he's got his
awesome.
number.
That'd be sick.
Yeah, I'll try to see if he's available for FaceTime.
I have a student named Jesus, but it's spelled that way. Is that proof of anything?
Yes. No? Yes.
No? Maybe.
So,
But
Richard, do you understand
yeah,
how what me believing in that lizard means nothing? It's not a claim to what is and what isn't true, right?
right.
So whatever
But what
Freemasons
if I
believe or
showed
whatever
you
it
a
is you
picture of a blue
think
lizard?
Freemasons believe doesn't prove anything.
Okay, what if I took a photo of a blue lizard with a yellow tail that's 100% real, and I showed it to you? Would you believe me? Would you believe that
Uh,
that blue lizard's real?
yeah, probably. So
If I showed you a photo of it?
do you have anything that approaches that level when it comes to the existence of the Christian God?
Yeah, dude, I have the Freemason Practitioner's Guide, and
No.
they say rituals to
The
Satan.
Freemasons, Richard, what you're talking about, okay, here's the
They
equivalent to what
worship
you're talking
Satan.
about.
I'm on the
What
other
if
side.
stop. Here's the equivalent of what you just said. Going back to the lizard thing. What if I showed you a picture of your own handwriting that says I believe in the lizard? Then would you believe me? No, because all you're doing is presenting beliefs as if they are evidence. So the photograph of the lizard would be great because the lizard is the thing we're actually talking about, okay?
Right.
I don't want you to send me a PDF file of the Freemasons initiation ceremony or whatever the hell it is, because
What if
that's
the
just going to
thing
be a
had
description
drawings
of
of
their
it?
beliefs. I need the actual proof of the Christian God. So how about if the Christian God exists, it's not necessarily dependent upon the existence of Freemasons because your God has existed for eternity according to your
Right.
belief system.
Right.
Freemasonry
Exactly.
hasn't. So just go ahead and, without appealing to Freemasonry at all, explain some evidence for the Christian God.
Okay, so the way to back up, the way I found the Christian God was through Freemasonry. I discovered the existence of that, just to clarify, right?
Groovy.
I mean, that is really it. I mean, I really don't have any
It's
more
unfortunate.
rational arguments besides the 2022 thing. I mean, Freemasonry is really it for me, to be honest. Like, you really need to do your research on this.
You
It's
thought that the
crazy. It's
2022
crazy.
argument was a rational argument for the existence of the Christian God?
I
You
mean, it's
thought
just
that
one
was a
part.
good argument?
shit.
You should check out Freemasonry, man. It's fucking wild. Let me
No, I
DM you
shouldn't.
the
Why would I want to
practitioner's
check out?
manual.
Why would I want to check out a cult that supposedly worships the devil? Why are you
Because it'll lead you to
Why
God.
are you promoting devil worship?
No,
You're literally promoting devil worship. You're trying to groom
I'm
people
preaching
into
against that
Freemasonry.
right now. No. I'm preaching against that. You need to understand that.
You know,
I hate
You
Freemasonry.
should
I hate it.
Richard, you should do heroin so that you can figure out that it's not good. Does that make sense?
You want me to send you photos
advice?
of the guys that are
No.
blindfolded that have the
No.
6-sided like
Again,
stars
But
behind
Do you
them?
want me to say it in
They're in
Spanish?
the Masonic lodge.
No.
They're about to get initiated.
again,
Do you want me to send you photos?
none of this proves your
No.
God. Like you've yet to provide a single shred of evidence for your God, except you keep saying Freemasons. That's not an answer.
That's like if I go on Paint and just write out unicorns are
to be
real.
honest
I
with
might
you,
believe it, and I might believe it with my whole heart. But that's the thing.
Freemasonry
Just writing it down doesn't prove it.
confirms
We need
Christianity.
No, it
Freemasonry
doesn't.
confirms Christianity. Yes,
Freemasonry
it does.
confirms Freemasonry. Whatever
No, it
Freemasons do only confirms that they do that. It
Okay,
doesn't confirm that their beliefs are true. It just confirms they
Yeah.
have a belief.
It doesn't prove
let
God.
me explain. So within the Bible, Jesus says that Lucifer is the god of this planet, right? That we are, essentially in a form of hell, as is, right?
You're just telling us beliefs. Beliefs aren't
Okay,
proof.
let me fucking finish my point. So Jesus,
No, because
You
you've
don't
made
have
this
one.
kind of point before.
Jesus said that Lucifer is the commander of the spiritual powers of this earth.
What are you doing?
Right? So
What are you doing?
So Jesus said that if Freemasonry is actually people selling their souls so they can gain control of the power of this earth, then that means Jesus was right.
Well, he wrote it down.
Okay.
Must be true.
There we go. This proves that everything you're saying is incorrect.
So the way that I'm forming the argument is that Christianity is incorrect, or does that fit into my argument?
You haven't
your
made one.
Your argument is that beliefs are proof. So these are my beliefs.
Beliefs are proofs.
And according to the Planet Peterson select philosophy, blah blah blah. If these things are true, then it's proven. So here we go.
Well, what if I could provide you with sources that will prove what I'm saying about Freemasonry is true?
It doesn't matter.
Then it wouldn't matter because all you're doing is telling me what their beliefs are.
Right. And that's important.
Beliefs
because
aren't proof.
Right, they could be worshiping unicorns. Does that give any credence to the existence of unicorns?
But it's not like me worshiping unicorns or you worshiping unicorns. It's like presidents and world leaders worshiping unicorns.
That is the weirdest version of an argument from authority I've ever heard, but arguments from authority are logical fallacies. So there you go.
So I mean, that's the thing. It doesn't matter who it is.
The end of time.
Because anyone can claim anything. Just because someone has made a claim does not lend credence to that claim. Just because even if the Freemasons are doing what you say and they claim that there is a God and there is a Satan, that doesn't mean anything. That just means that select group of people believe that. And that's fine, but that's like you have to give credence to every belief then.
Okay, what if they had access to knowledge that you were not privy to?
What if they did? How would you know?
Right? You ever think about that?
Yeah,
Well,
what if
I
they
mean, I've
did?
read their literature. They say that they do, and they talk about it all the time.
Okay, that sounds like another
They
anecdotal
say
belief.
that they do. You're
They
just
talk about
describing their beliefs.
esoteric spiritual
And
teachings of the ancient past.
And is that proof of those things?
Well, they practice it, and
So what?
well, I mean, I know this is an anecdotal example, but I actually met this girl one time that actually was a pagan and did practice like witchcraft.
holy shit.
Richard, I cannot tell you how much I don't care about this story. Okay? So, we're going to do this one more time without appealing to. Oh, he left.
Oh, there it goes. That works.
Christ.
That was so much fun.
But did you know about the Freemasons though?
Freemasons, bro. Telling you, it's all about the Freemasons.